This is TWiT.
I am concerned because I am worried that I will soon not be able to talk to you via iMessage, and that we will not be able to make FaceTime audio calls on the show due to a threat from Apple. Rosemary, what's going on in the UK? I'm scared.
I mean, it isn't just the UK. There's a number of countries who've been there with this. They've all decided that they would walk back on it. And the UK is the latest one to go, we're going to try this again. And they'll probably, fingers crossed, hopefully change their mind. Essentially, the UK once again has decided that for security reasons, they need a backdoor that is only for them into iMessage and FaceTime. So a backdoor into a system like this essentially means that the messages that I send to Mikah and that Mikah sends to me are encrypted in a tiny little tunnel. Okay, it's a digital tunnel, but you can think of it like the tunnel under the sea between the UK and France, if you prefer. A nice big tunnel with lots of rock and some ocean on the outside, keeping it nice and safe. But Mikah's got a key and I've got a key. And so I can see what Mikah sent me. Mike can see what I've sent him, and we can see each other's things. But if my mum were to try and connect to that tunnel, first of all, she doesn't know where that tunnel is. That's not something she can just do. And secondly, she'd need the key to be able to get to it. And those keys are just in your iPhone and iOS and so on. They're all synced through iCloud and so on between your devices, which is how come I can see messages from Mikah on my Mac and my iPad as well as my iPhone. Now, the UK government has decided once again it wants a back door, which means that it wants a tiny little, door into this tunnel so that it can just stick its head in and have a look and make sure everything's hunky-dory. Now, all done with the best of intentions of keeping people safe and being able to, appropriately, follow lines of inquiry and things in investigations that are ongoing. But the problem with this is it's a hole. And if you think of a bag of air and you put it underwater, as long as that bag of air is entirely sealed, it's safe. But if there's a tiny little pinprick, then that air is going to start coming out of the bag. And you can put your finger over it or you can put some tape over it, but the air is still going to try and escape. Mm-hmm. And essentially the back door it's not the air trying to escape, it's the water getting into the bag instead. Mm-hmm. And the UK government would like access to this stuff, but that means if there is a backdoor, then all of those bad actors that Mike was just mentioning that may have exploited things in the iOS 16.5 release, which have been fixed with iOS 16.6, are also going to be trying to get in there. And so, Apple said, look, if you do this, we're just going to yoink iMessage and FaceTime. They're just going to go away. We're just not going to give you the option. Now, this isn't, this is a threat because, they would actually have to follow through with it. But there is prior art for this. Apple has a specific iOS for China, which is different to the iOS that you get in the rest of the world. And so I don't think this is an empty threat. I think this is a genuine case of, look, you think you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. This is the problem with technology and politics. You have to really understand technology to understand why just putting a gate into the garden fence with a lock on it, to which you have the key, means that other people will come along and pick that lock because they can. And then some people will not just do that because they can, but do that because they want to destroy somebody's life. So, fingers crossed, the UK government will consult with Apple and Google and, Meta for WhatsApp and Messenger and Instagram messages and Thread and all of the stuff that they've got, and find out, a better way to do what they want to do. There will always be options available to them to get things, whether it's by having a physical device, of somebody to get that information or something else. But the right way isn't by making a hole that's a really big security flaw. If you want a boat, don't necessarily, buy a Titanic and hit an iceberg.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. ACI Learning provides world-class service from beginning to end of your training journey and beyond. Fortify your expertise with access to self-paced IT training videos, interactive practice labs, and certification practice tests. Individuals use the code TWiT30 for 30% off a standard or premium individual IT Pro membership at go.acilearning.com/twit.